Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my October 2024 book haul. So yeah, I went a little crazy. Part of it was because I did go to Pals with my dad. We do our yearly trip. This year just got pushed until October. I still have a lot of credit. I did spend a little bit of that in November, but you know, that's it's still early. Anyway, point is that I spent way too much money. And again, I was gearing up for knowing that I was going to do the Read What You Own challenge. So next month's book haul will be smaller. It won't be as small as I was hoping because I did freak out yesterday and bought a couple books. So again, I'm filming this on Sunday, so it's the day before the challenge begins. But I did want to talk about the 30 books I did buy in October. Bad for me. I think only two of them I've read before. Everything else is new to my TBR, but we'll go through it. Anyway, let's start with all the pre-orders that I got. I got the second book in the Tomes and Tea series by Rebecca Thorne, A Pirate's Life for Tea. Oh my god, the sprayed edge, well, that's the first version out, you know. So anyway, I do want to get to this. This is a second book in a fantasy, with there's a lot of plot to it, but there's also some romance in it, and I just love the two characters, the mage and well, she was like a bodyguard for the queen, and in the first book, Can't Spell Tea Without Treason, or Can't Spell Treason Without Tea, they decide to run away together to get away from stuff. So anyway, this one takes off from where that one is, and I think it's just going to be a trilogy because the third book is coming out in March or April of next year. But I need to read that. That's on my list to read fairly soon. I did, let's see here, is this the only one I got? I got one of the Sarah Adams backlist that they're republishing with a traditional, I think she did that indie. The Off Limits Rule is the I don't remember which of her series this is. But I've been collecting them. I haven't got to read these older ones yet, but I did pre-order or get all those. I have a holiday book, The Nightmare Before Christmas by Sarah Rash. So it's a royals and romance novel. So I think it has to do with someone who has to do with Christmas and then Halloween and something I don't even know anymore. But I bought it anyway, or pre-ordered it because people were talking about it. I did get the next book in the House Murders series by Yukito Ayasuji. So I've really enjoyed the what was the first one? Oh, it's not going to give me this. Oh, the Decagon House Murders and then the Mill House Murders. And I've read those with Berna at Berna's Bookish Adventures. And so we will get to this one at some point. But this is number 3 that's been translated. I don't think it's 3 in this series, but it's at least the next one that we get. So I'm really excited to get to this. Again, it usually has to do with murder at a house, you know, somewhere. And this one has to do with a mystery writer. That's all I know about it, but I'm really excited for it when we do get to it. So anyway, and that's translated from the Japanese by Ho Ling Wong. So anyway, I'm really excited for that. One of the books that I have read is, because it's a reprint or another traditionally published version of a book I've already read, is Desperate Measures by Katie Robert. So this is the first book in the Wicked Villains series. This is the first book I ever read by her because this is the one I heard so much about. And I'm really excited that she got them traditionally published. I am part of her Patreon, so I get some other photos and things. Anyway, so I've already read this, but you know, it's now on my shelf. It's part of that. Anyway, and that's more of kind of mafia-ish. It's erotica kind of thing, but it's fun. I enjoy those. Anyway, I got the next one in the fairy tale retelling series by Scarlett St. Clair. This is Apples Dipped in Gold. So the first one was Mountains Made of Glass. So I don't know, that one was kind of Beauty and the Beast retelling, kind of a mismatch with other stuff. And I don't know what this one is. I mean, I'm guessing it's Snow White of some sort, but there has to do with some princes, I don't know if they're fae. I can't remember now. I read it a while ago, the first book. So anyway, this is the second book. So I'm excited to get to that. It's pretty short. And then the last pre-order that actually just showed up today so I could film this, but it was from this last week, which is Inheritance, The Lost Bride Trilogy, Book 1 by Nora Roberts. I like her more, her paranoras, or the ones that have magic and stuff in it. I don't have any idea what this is about, but it looks like something. This one takes place in 1806, so I'm curious. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I did buy that because, again, I'm in the middle of her last completed series, and then this will be the next one. There, I think The Mirror, which is the second one, either has just come out or it's coming out in the next couple months. So it'll be a while before I get to this series, but I'm going to collect them because I'm going to read them at some point. Okay, so then let's talk about all the books I just bought randomly. Some of these are new, some are reman, some are used, you know. So I did get The Witch Collector by Carissa Weeks. Is that how you say it? Yeah. Anyway, this is the first book in the Witch Walker series. I've heard so much about it. This is one of those, you know, ones where there's a witch hunter kind of thing. I don't know anything about it. I just hear so much about it that I want to read it, I guess. I don't know. I picked this one up kind of on a whim. Sorry, my phone is doing weird stuff. Rabid by Ivy Asher and Raven Kennedy. Again, Raven Kennedy writes the Plated Prisoner series. So I do want to finish that off. But this one is, I think it's a standalone. I don't remember if there was anything else connected to it. But it's definitely one where a woman is, I think, with one pack of wolves, of werewolves and stuff. And he tries to do something to her, and then she gets help from somebody else. I'm not sure how, I can't remember the whole story, but they have a couple books that they've written together, and I've always wanted to try Ivy Asher, so whatever, I'm going to try that one. Oh, here's the other book that I have read, which is, so I guess I've read 3 so far. Well, I mean, one more I haven't showed you yet, but okay, so we'll see. Ashwin by Kit Rocha. This is the first book in the Gideon Riders series, which is a spin-off of their Beyond series, one of my favorite series of all time, which is a dystopian erotic adventure kind of thing. But these are this is the first of the 3 of the Gideon Riders, which they kind of abandoned due to health concerns, and then they've taken their writing into a different traditionally publishing for now. But this is a series I really enjoyed, and I didn't have Ashwin. I had it on ebook, but I wanted a physical version on my shelf because I just adore the characters in this book and in the whole Beyond series, as well as the Gideon Riders series. So anyway, when I had a gift card, I finally just let myself buy that to complete my collection of that series. I did get The Wraith King by Juliet Cross. So this is an author that wrote the Stay a Spell series, which I read all those books last year, or part of last year and the year before, I don't remember. But this is a fantasy romance. I don't know a whole lot about it. I pretty much just picked it up because it was Juliet Cross. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I've heard mixed things on that, but I like her as a writer, so I'm hoping I will be one of the ones who enjoy it. We'll see. I picked up The God and the Gumi Ho by Sophie Kim. This is the first book in the Fates thread. First book of Fates thread, I guess is the series name. Anyway, I don't know a whole lot about this, but it just sounded really cool about somebody retired from a life of devouring souls. And then the other one is a god who's fallen or something. I don't know, but I think they meet in a coffee shop or something. I'm not quite sure, but it just sounded cool. And again, I think it's a Korean inspired fantasy. So, with I think it's urban fantasy. So it just sounded really cool. Again, another series starter, but it just sounded good. I did get 2 books in the Kingmaker Chronicles series. I did just start that, so I wanted to get them before the Read What You Own challenge started. So I got a book. I already owned book 2 I found used, but I couldn't find the other ones, so I can't remember which is which. I think Heart of Fire is 3 and A Curse of Queens is 4. So I think that's what's out right now. I think there's a 5th one coming out later next year. This is fantasy with a strong romance in it, but the world is very much kind of like Greek in historical times, but the gods are very much in play. And we are following, and her name went out of my head. What is her name? Kat. And she has been hiding from her kind of what her fortune has told her, and she's kind of pretending to be something she's not really. And a warlord who has just taken over the south part of the country has come to claim her to kind of secure his the rule of his family. So anyway, I really enjoyed it. The first book. I'm hoping I'm going to continue now that I own them all. Let's see here. I did get The Way Home by Peter S. Beagle. This is 2 novellas from the world of The Last Unicorn. I read The Last Unicorn when I was a teenager. I loved the old movie, comic, or the the animated movie. I just adore that. And I read that book long time ago. And I think I've reread it at least once or twice. I would like to reread The Last Unicorn again. But this is 2 more stories in there. So I don't know anything about it. I'm not going to go look at it. But I did get I found a used copy of The Last Unicorn in this version. I had a really old mass market paperback. So this one matches the book I got at the library sale earlier this year, I think. The Which Would Not by Olivia Atwater is the first book in I think it's the Victorian fairy tales series. Her first trilogy, Victorian fairy tales, book 1. So I read Half a Soul, which is in her Regency fairy tales stories, and really love that. I love that book. I've read it several times already. I did not get on with 10,000 Stitches. I've yet to finish it. I keep starting it and DNFing it. Someday I will get through that. I still have to try Long Shadow, which is the 3rd book in that series, because I'm hoping I'll like that one. And then maybe I can go back and finish 10,000 Stitches. Because they are fantasy, historical fantasies. So they take place in these time periods, but there's magic in the world. And, so it's kind of alternate history kind of thing. This one is supposed to take place in the Victorian period. I don't know, but it has a Victorian governess, and that's pretty much why I bought it. So we'll see. I finally broke down and let myself buy that. I bought My Vampire +1 by Gina Levine. I read My Roommate is a Vampire last year and really enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect, but it was her first published novel, so I'm giving her a second go. I really enjoyed that one, that I would revisit it, so it was good enough. But it wasn't perfect. But I want to see how this one goes, because this is a character, the male character is one that we really don't like too much in the first book, to a certain extent. But it's kind of, I want to see what kind of happens. So anyway, I'm not sure if they're doing a fake romance, so I don't know. That's good enough for me. So anyway, I finally bought that. That was one of the ones that I meant to pre-order, but my pre-order got canceled by Barnes & Noble for no reason. And so I bought it later when I had a gift card. And then I picked up the Redrabit by Alex Grecian. So this sounds like it's a historical kind of Old West, but it's it's fantasy. It's like historical fantasy. So this one is something about in Kansas. They are they're tracking down somebody in this red carriage. I'm not sure beyond that, really. I've always wanted to read that. I know I swear I read another book by him years ago, but or at least I think it was him. Now I'm not positive because they're not showing the list of his books. But I thought I've read, The Yard. I read The Yard, which was mystery. I I don't know if it was Victorian times or just early 1900s. I can't remember anymore, but I read The Yard many years ago, liked but didn't really love. So I never continued that series, but I did want to try that book. That book's kind of intriguing to me. I got Hemlock by Kelly Armstrong, which is kind of more suspense, a horror, about a woman who has a rental on this lake and somebody's trashed it and stuff, and I think she goes there and then finds out there's something else going on than what she thought. I like Kelly Armstrong. Again, I've read a lot of her urban fantasy and I've read a few of her mysteries over the years, and I have quite a few on my shelf, but I picked up her horror because I wanted to read that one too. I picked up The Black Hunger by Nicholas Polan. I just one day decided to pick this up. I don't actually even know why. I think I saw it when it came out on release day, and that's the day I went to Barnes & Noble during October, and it was just one of the ones I bought. So it's somebody who's, I don't know, it looks like it's in Scotland. I think that's probably why I bought it, but I don't know if it's historical. I don't know. You know, maybe if somebody could tell me, I'm sure it's, it probably is historical. It looks like early 1900s. I don't know, but I bought it. I did pick up The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean because I heard so many people talking about this, and this is about a woman who, you know, all her life wanted to be a phoenix keeper at the zoo, and then I think, you know, for mythical creatures. So I think it's, you know, definitely, I don't know if it's an urban fantasy in another world kind of thing. I'm not sure how much of the fantasy elements, except there's animals that are different. And then something, I know she has a rivalry with somebody who's the Griffin Keeper. I don't know, but I don't know what's going on. I really care. It just looks really cool. I don't know if it's really considered cozy fantasy, but it definitely looks like fun because it's, you know, has to do with phoenixes, and she's a zookeeper, and, you know, things are going on. I don't know. It's kind of long, so we'll see how that goes, but I have been wanting to get to that. I also got Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I have been collecting her books now, and I just have not read another one since I read Cackle and really enjoyed it. But this is the one everybody seems to talk about, and it was spooky season. Everybody was talking about Rachel Harrison again because she had her new book out. So thirsty, but I'm going to wait till paperback. I try to buy everything in paperback, but, you know, it doesn't always happen. But this one is, I think the woman her family was kind of cultish of some sort, and she left. And so she is considered the black sheep of the family. And for some reason, she is invited back for a wedding, and it just goes wrong. That's about all I know about it. I really was hoping to get to that this spooky season, but it didn't really happen. I then, when I was doing my Pals used bookstore, you know, run with my dad, I did get a couple of the October Day series books by Shauna McGuire. I have now most of the beginning books. I have a couple sporadically that I bought from library book sales over the years. But this is a series that, urban fantasy series with Faye. I think she's half Faye. And she has been missing for quite a few years due to some magic that happened to her. And she comes back and everything is different. And she has to kind of reestablish herself. And there are some, I don't know if they're gods quite, I'm not sure how it works. I just remember that there was somebody that was kind of in charge that makes her kind of do it's kind of like the mysteries in every book kind of thing, and I think they kind of culminate into a bigger picture. This is quite a long series, but I would really like to reread the first book because I read it many years ago, and then restart the series. So I have preempted myself and bought a few of the books in the series to read, so we will see how that goes. I also, let's do, this is the last of the fiction fantasy, is Under the Oak Tree, the comic. This is volume 1. Art is by P, adapted by Namu, and the original story is by Suji Kim. So Suji Kim wrote, I think, a web novel at some point. The version of Under the Oak Tree volume 1, which is the novel version, or that webcomic or web novel is coming out next week. So, or this coming week, or actually by the time this video goes out, it'll be out. But I didn't want to buy that because I hadn't seen it yet. I'm going to get it from the library, but it's the same story as this, I think. And I got this from the library first, and I adored this. This was so good. I mean, it's actually one of those things where I gave it a 4 everywhere, but now I'm thinking I need to bump it up to a 5 because I keep thinking about it, and it's a story I'm really intrigued about. Even though a few things bugged me, it's still, it's so, I want to know what happens. So we're following, oh, what's her name? Oh, does it say her name back here? I don't know. She, but they get married. You know, it's like a kind of historical, you know, medieval kind of fantasy times kind of thing. And they have to get married for political reasons, right? And then he, like, the next morning, he is gone. He has to go and fight. And he's gone for 3 years. So she is left in her father's possession. And that is not a good place for her. He's not a good guy. And so he comes back 3 years later, and she's worried that he is going to annul the marriage. And then he just wants to get her, you know, to his place, you know, to, you know, finally get them to where they can talk. And so it's really a lot of, there is some, you know, miscommunication and stuff, which is kind of funny, but it's also really sweet of how they are trying to deal with this new reality of them. Now they are married, but they don't know each other. And but there's also monsters and people who are trying to take over, or trying to get on his land and other things. You know, there's like monsters involved, which is why he was gone for the 3 years. It was just such a good book. Anyway, the point is that I bought the comic one, and I will get the next one too. They're just, let's see here. I think it's really pretty. I just think she's, as I said, sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh, really? But I think my the more I thought about it, the more I really enjoyed it. Okay. Let's go through the couple of nonfiction that I bought. I did buy Dickens Land by Lee Jackson, The Curious History of Dickens London. So I heard about some other people reading this in October, and then maybe in nonfiction November. And I think it has to do with looking at London from the point of view of the books, you know, things that he put in them. So there's things about this that I might need to wait until I read more of Dickens to read this, but it just sounded really good, and it was on sale one day, and I bought it. I got The Salt Path by Rainer Wynn, which is a memoir of her and her husband who found out he was terminally ill, and they walk a long distance in England. So anyway, I've heard a lot about this over the years. I know there's more books or more memoirs that she's done, but I did want to read that one at some point. I got Entangled Life, by Merlin Sheldrake. How fungi make our worlds, change our minds, and shape our futures. So I've been wanting to read this for quite a while. I got this version because it's the only used one I could find. But this is one of those nature books I did want to get to that I just hadn't got to, and I heard so many people talk about this one. I then got The Temporary European Lessons and Confessions of a Professional Traveler by Cameron Hewitt. So he works for Rick Steves, and so I saw him on when they did their when Rick Steves does a series of, you know, showing all his different tours for the next year. I think it's after the new year, I think. I don't know. There's like a whole month of stuff he puts. He has videos and videos, and one of the guys was this one, Cameron Hewitt, and they mentioned the book because it had just come out. So I'd been looking for it, and I finally found it. It finally went on sale, and I had a gift card. So I did want to read that just because it talks about him traveling and doing stuff. It says back here, 20 years plus as Rick Steves' right-hand man. So he is one of the people who go over to Europe to be the tour guides and stuff for him. Anyway, for his company. So anyway, it just sounded really interesting. I'd like to read that. I've read Rick Steves' books that are not his guides, but his other books that he's written. And then the last one I have is The Second Common Reader by Virginia Woolf. I am collecting her stuff because I do want to try to read all of her stuff. These are her essays and things on other people's writings, on things that she just read. It's just kind of her talking about stuff that as a reader, this is what she came across and what she kind of got out of it. So some of them are stuff we'll know. It's like very well known. They talk, one of them I think is about Robinson Crusoe, and there's even Jane Austen, or well, no, it's someone else's. No, Mary Wollstonecraft. That's the one I saw in here, and Dorothy Wordsworth and stuff, and some other ones. Oh, George Gissing is in here. Interesting. So it's one of those things where I had the first one and this one, so there'll be ones when I do read them, they probably will just be here and there, but again, I'm just collecting all the Virginia Woolf. So that is all the books that I got. Just really, really, yeah, I really kind of went overboard. And I think, again, part of it is that I finally got to go to Pals with my dad. Part of it was I had gift cards to Amazon and I had credit at Pals, and you know, I had some extra money. I didn't spend, even though I have a lot of books here, I still spent more than I should have, but it could have been so much worse if I hadn't had the gift cards and the credit. So anyway, so next month will hopefully be a lot smaller. We'll see how I go when I actually am doing the Read What You Own, which by the time this video is up, it'll have started on Monday. So I will be doing that, and I'm gonna try not to buy anything other than a few pre-orders I already have, and then the books that I bought as a panic yesterday. So we'll see how I do, but if there are any of these books that you think I need to read sooner rather than later, I have a lot of choices here and a lot of things I do want to get to. Just as I said, I've purchased a little too much, and we are going to curb that, at least for a couple of months. We'll see how we go, because usually I don't do well with book bans. So I'm a little concerned for myself, as in if I'm going to hold to it, but we are going to give it a shot. So anyway, that's it. Again, let me know, did you guys buy anything good in October? Again, any of these that you think I should read now sooner rather than later? And I think that's it, right? Right, Cooper? Anyway, we will see you later. Bye.